therapeutic brushing. How do you do it? How can therapeutic brushing help your child with sensory integration dysfunction regulate their emotions and learn? Stay tuned to learn more. Hi, I'm Kimberly, and welcome back to my channel. It's Only Homeschooling. If you've never been here before, thanks for stopping by. I'm a licensed professional counselor turned homeschool mom of one. I'm also an advocate for homeschooling your child with learning differences. If you know anything about me, then you know that we are entering our 5th year as a homeschooling family, and we are also a family who has a child with learning differences. In our house, those learning differences are dysgraphia, developmental coordination disorder, also known as dyspraxia, and sensory integration dysfunction, or what is commonly more known as sensory processing disorder. Here on my channel, there's a variety of different videos. There's a few curriculum reviews, some product reviews. I do a lot of channels with my son where we do some kitchen science kids, and we get in the kitchen and we blow it up and we have a lot of fun with some hands-on projects. We also have his Books and Bricks book club, a brand new twist on an old favorite where we get out Legos and we read a book together every month, and then we put together one special video for you at the end of the month after having read the book together. I am also a huge advocate. I host 2 podcasts. One is known as the Salt and Light Serve Spotlight, where I focus on outreach, service, and volunteerism, interviewing all different types of individuals and businesses who are doing their best to make the world a better place. I also have a new podcast, Shelf Indulgence Book Chats, where I chat with homeschool moms just like me and just like you about their experiences and their journey and how they are willing to share wisdom from the books that they have authored in their experiences with the rest of us. There is great comfort in community, and that's what I want you to find when you come here to my channel. Advocacy, community, and resources. Part of those resources and community is for me to share some of the knowledge that I have gleaned over the years in short little bursts. You might have picked up on a few of these from my Got a Minute series. Short little videos of about a minute long where you just get nuggets of knowledge on a variety of topics, including homeschooling, mental health, parenting, and more. In testimony to this, I have decided to start adding some different types of content. I did a little bit of this before, and I'll put a card up here where it shows you the link to the video where I simply titled it Developmental Coordination Disorder, First Steps Undiagnosed. And that video has gotten quite a bit of views. I put that out there even though I'm pretty protective about what I show when it comes to my family and when it comes to my son. But I decided that putting that out there, showing other parents who may have children who are struggling with developmental delay and who they're not quite sure if their child would qualify for that type of diagnosis or another diagnosis, I thought I would share what our experience was like. I'm going to show some more videos like that so that you can kind of see and compare. I am not a professional in that area. I'm not an occupational therapist, and I'm not a physical therapist. I'm simply sharing my family's experience and my child's experience that we have gone through as a family, and some of the tips and techniques that we have gleaned from our many years with our PT and OT therapy crew to see if they can benefit you. My disclaimer is anything that I share in here is by no means meant to be a substitute for professional services. Okay, so disclaimer out of the way, now for just a little bit of background. What is sensory integration dysfunction, or better known as sensory processing disorder? For the sake of time, I'm going to put a card up here that will link you to my Got a Minute video, where it will tell you a brief overview of what sensory processing disorder is and how it impacts the body. I also have a list of reading recommendations over at my website. It's onlyhomeschooling.com if you would like to learn a little bit more. In the meantime, here's the book that I'm going to use for reference, The Everything Parent's Guide to Sensory Processing Disorder. I'll read you a little bit about that, explaining what the Wilbarger Brushing Protocol is, and a nice little toolbox book, a book filled with tools for your toolbox. The Out of Sync Child Has Fun, Activities for Kids with Sensory Integration Dysfunction. These are the 2 I recommend the highest. Okay, so now that we are familiar with what sensory processing disorder is or what sensory integration dysfunction is, let's take a look here inside this book to learn about what is the Wilbarger Protocol or Deep Pressure Proprioception Technique, DPPT. Okay. You may have heard parents in support groups or online message boards mention brushing their children with sensory processing disorder. If so, you've probably wondered what that could possibly mean. The brushing referred to is properly called the Wilbarger Protocol or Deep Pressure Proprioception Technique, DPPT for short, developed by occupational therapists Patricia Wilbarger and Julia Wilbarger as a way to reduce oversensitivity to touch. It involves rubbing a special TheraPressure brush to provide deep pressure along your child's skin in a specific way. Done many times throughout the day on a specific schedule, it eventually reduces your child's sensitivity to touch and makes him more able to deal with things like clothing, tags, sock seams, and hugs. While the protocol seems harmless, rub the brush against your own skin and you'll see that it doesn't hurt and feels a little stimulating. It must be done in the prescribed way or it could actually be harmful for your child. For this reason, it must be done under the supervision of your occupational therapist. If your therapist doesn't bring the subject up, don't hesitate to ask whether this would be a good option for your child. Have the therapist instruct you in what direction to move the brush, how frequently to do the treatments, and what sort of reaction on your child's part might signal a problem with the therapy. The Wilbarger Protocol also involves educating parents to increase awareness of the affect of sensory defensiveness on functional performance and developing a comprehensive sensory diet program. Okay, so disclaimer number 2, well, I'm going to talk with you a little bit about how and when we use the therapeutic brushing technique in our home, and I'm also going to show you the brush that we use for it. The way we use it in our home is the way we were taught to use it in our home. So before you go and you try to use this protocol with your child, I strongly suggest you seek out an evaluation or consultation with an occupational or physical therapist. Okay, so my son actually started with this technique when he was almost a little over 3, actually. We first started going to occupational and physical therapy when he was 2 years, 11 months, but I believe we didn't start this protocol until he was about around age 3. And at the time, it had to do with him being a very picky eater. And it's not uncommon for children who are very hypersensitive to certain textures, which he was and still kind of is, but he's getting much better, to use this technique for a variety of things to help him also with regulating when it was time to change activities, to kind of not tantrum if it was time to change activities, but to also help him with his picky eating. So that is when we were first introduced to this treatment. The brush. The brush that we use is still the brush that our physical therapist gave to us years ago. In fact, you can see a little bit here, the writing is still rubbed off of it, but it is about 3 inches by 1.5 inches, and you can get these on Amazon, a variety of different brushes like this, but the bristles are very soft and they flatten, you can see, very easily. It's just the slightest amounts of pressure, and it feels actually really nice going against your skin. That's our brush. And I'll put a link in the description box below so you can see to Amazon, which is where you can get other brushes just like this. When we were taught to use the brushing, I have seen several different tutorials on YouTube where the person doing the brushing will take the bristles and will go back and forth. Initially, when we were taught, this was just us, we were taught to go in one direction. Pretty firm pressure, but just in one direction, but to not go over the same place too many times, to shift where you're going on the skin. And always on bare skin or over thin clothing. Like this is a jean jacket, so blue jeans or just anything with a denim material is a little bit too thick. But if it had, let's say I were wearing something like track pants, one of my son's favorite things in the world to wear, you could pull the clothing taut and go over the clothing. One thing that is a big no-no that they told me not to do at the time was to not shift in between clothing to bare skin. and kind of confuses the brain. So we try not to do that. That's a no-no. Other no-nos is you don't want to do the chest area, you don't want to do the tummy, very ticklish part of the body. You also don't want to do the neck, and definitely not the face. But when you go across the back, you want to do it in a W motion, down and up. Try not to go over the spine too much, down and up. How often are you supposed to do the brushing? That varies. What we were taught initially, I've heard somewhere anywhere in between every 2 hours, every 3 hours. Waking hours, do not wake your child up to do this in the middle of the night if they're sleeping. Don't ever wake a sleeping child. But we were taught initially to do this about every 2 to 3 hours, at least for the first 7 to 14 days, to sort of get yourself into that rhythm. So that was our schedule. So it is quite a bit of a big time commitment, at least until we get into a set routine to kind of get ourselves regulated so that then we can use it as needed. We were also taught at the time that after we do the brushing protocol, we should immediately follow it with joint compressions. So does my son like this activity? Yes, he actually does. He finds this to be incredibly relaxing. It's kind of like a massage moment with mommy. It gets some one-on-one time with mommy. And now he's gotten to the point where he can actually, with the exception of his back, he can actually do this himself on his own body because he's much older now. For our family, the therapeutic brushing is just one more tool in our sensory toolbox to help our child feel comfortable and confident in his skin, help him to regulate his emotions, to not feel so frustrated so that he can feel like he can do better at certain tasks, even the more challenging ones, but especially, or to help him accommodate to shifts and changes in his environment, in his schedule, in the day-to-day. For us, the benefits are there. It helps increase our son's focus. It helps increases his self-awareness. It helps increases his confidence and his ability to cope with situations and unfamiliar or novel situations that he may be thrown into. So when do we use this tool? Well, the main times that we use it is part of our sleep hygiene. It's a way to sort of signal our body that it is time for rest. It is time to settle down for the evening. It's part of our sleep stories. That's another one of the rituals that we use at night. Some of our favorites are New Horizons. I'll put a card up here for that one. And also Cosmic Kids Yoga. They have some wonderful sleep stories, kind of guided meditations to sort of help your child wind down in the evening and get them ready for rest. Other times that we use it can be if we're getting ready to do an activity where I know he's going to have to be a little bit more regulated and sit still to do some work. And now for a brief demonstration of my son showing you how he does the Wilbarger Brush Protocol on himself with a little help from me. Okay, so hello. It's only Homeschooling Friends. We are going to do, I'll show you a little demonstration of how we do what we call our brushies and squishies. Here we go.
Sounds funny.
It sounds funny. Okay, let me see if you can see me. Yes, you can see me just a little bit. I'm going to push my child over just a little bit. You're doing good. Okay, I'm going to start with this one arm and I'm going to do light pressure and going in one direction, and then I'm going to pull it out the other side, but I'm also going to go back over and down his back because I really wanted to show you how we're not going to go on the spine. Okay, so demonstration. I'm going to start on this arm, go down, not going over the same place twice, back over the back, down in a W motion, not going up the spine, come around. You're doing great, kiddo, thank you. The other arm, and down and back. And that will be our arm stent because we're not going to do any of the neck area and we're not going to do the chest or the abdomen, okay? And then we'll switch the camera around and I'll let you see what it's like when I do his legs.
All right.
So let's start with this. You
Here's
ready?
my arm.
Okay. Pretty firm pressure.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel?
I like how this brush feels because when you brush it, it doesn't actually feel like pointy because it just becomes smooth.
It becomes smooth. Okay, and down, avoiding your spine, coming up the other side and over the shoulder. So it's actually pretty good pressure. You'd say it feels like I'm doing it pretty firmly, but it doesn't hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's that part done. Okay, and normally we would continue doing this in all-in-one motion, but again, I'm not showing my son's face, so I've switched the camera and switched him around just a little bit, and now we're gonna do the legs.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
It tickles on my underknee.
Oh, okay, on the underneath, you don't want me to do the underside?
On the underside of my knee.
Okay, then I won't do under your knee. I'm only gonna go
because it tickles there.
Okay, I'm not gonna go up. There, was that enough pressure?
That was good.
Okay, and now we're done. And now I'm gonna show you what the squishies are. You're doing great. Okay, so now, straighten your head. Your head's perfectly fine, sweetheart. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna hold his shoulder here, and I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm gonna hold his elbow and wrist here, and then joint compression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I was taught to do the fingers. A lot of people say they're not, but I was taught to do the fingers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
Oh.
And other arm.
I almost got my face on there.
You're fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It feels weird.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you sit up and do. Just push your shoulders down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
It feels weird.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm not gonna do your toes. First, tell me, how does it feel after we did that?
It feels strange when we did the squishies, as you called them. But the brushing, I like the brushing because when you brush this brush, it feels smooth actually because the point just goes down on its side.
Does it help you kind of feel relaxed?
Yeah.
Does it help you feel like you could probably sit down and focus, maybe even doing a task that's not your favorite, like maybe handwriting?
I've gotten better with my writing, but yeah.
You've actually gotten wonderful with your handwriting. I mean,
Mhm.
absolutely, I agree with you. But does it help you feel like you could tackle it a little better, like you're calmer?
Maybe.
Maybe. We're not going to do any writing right now, but I just thought I would ask. Good. Do you think you could demonstrate just a little bit what it's like when you do the brushing for yourself?
I'd like to start up on my shoulder.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Okay. There you go.
I can't do my back.
No, you can't do your back. I can always still help you with that. Not a problem. There you go. Good, good firm pressure. Yeah.
That's my arms.
Okay.
So I'm going all the way down to my feet since my legs almost.
I'm going to show the feet, the legs just a little bit. We've got a little bit of a messy classroom over there, but guess what? Real life, when things happen off camera. That's good.
Camera tricks, people. Camera tricks.
Look how tall you are now. I can't get over this from the first time we filmed a brushing protocol video.
All right.
All right. And that's it. And you want me to do your back one more time?
Okay.
Okay, I'll do your back. All right. So again, W motion. Oh, there. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
I thought it was actually a V shape.
It is kind of more of a V, but I guess they want you to do W because I'm supposed to go down and up. And then down and up. So
but last time it felt like you did a V instead.
I did a big V because it was hard for me to reach over beside you. But this is our brush, and that was our demonstration of brushes and squishies. So how do you feel?
Good.
Good. And that is just our brief demonstration of how we use the Wilbarger Brush Protocol in our home. If this is something that you would like to include as part of your sensory diet, I suggest you reach out to an occupational therapist in your area to see if your child is a good candidate for this type of intervention and so that you can learn how to use it properly. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and possibly subscribing to our channel so you can learn and be aware when more videos arrive. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. And remember, education is a journey, not a destination. Until we meet again, relax. It's only homeschooling.